Welcome back, nigga, to Survival Time. Another episode. We finna get into some real shit. I've been kind of wanting to get into this situation, but we finally finna get into this situation because a lot of people don't know this is going on. So we gonna listen to the here and yeah, it's finna get real. I'm gonna just let this shit play. Yeah.
Listen to this.
Son of a bitch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I confess I'm a little confused, and I appreciate the argument or discussion that we've been having, but for me, it's a little too conceptual or, I don't know, metaphysical or theological or whatever you want to call it. I want to try to understand what you're asking us to do. Let's take two books that have been much discussed. The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue, and I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me. He got on top.
Hold up. This is a fucking child's book. This is a children's book. This is a children's book is what he's saying. This is a children's book. This is a fucking kid's book saying this shit. That's crazy. This is a kid's book saying that shit. With all of that description, all of that shit, all of that, yo. I've been saying this shit, all that LGBT shit, this is what they be trying to push, this is what they be on low. See, they low-key trying to get these kids comfortable with this bullshit. Reason being is because that plus in LGBT also provides comfort and safety zone for pedophiles. See, if you do your research, you can't even call pedophiles pedos no more. You have to call them minor lovers now because of the LGBT community, nigga. Damn, I'm glad the government getting involved in this shit now. I've been saying they should have got involved in that shit. I felt like I didn't understand why they was pushing this shit in the first place. I didn't understand why they was pushing all this gay shit on these kids. It's really getting heavy once you start putting on it. It really get weird when you start putting it on the babies. In the kindergartners and shit like that. Maybe middle school, high school, I understand, but yeah.
And slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain. Close quote. All Boys Aren't Blue. The second is another much discussed book. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's called Genderqueer. Okay? Let me read an excerpt from that. Quote, I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you.
Bro, who the fuck is writing these books? That's what the fuck I want to know. Who coming up with these for kids? I need to know who coming up with these books. I need people to start digging into this shit because we need to know who the authors is of these books. I'm finna start doing more research. I already kind of started, but I'm gonna get into that later in another video. We need to be knowing who the fuck making these books because the shit that's in this book is crazy. This is a whole nother book at that, and they talking about strap-ons and fucking each other in the ass. What type of shit is that?
It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me. End quote. Now, Mr. Secretary, what are you asking us to do? Are you suggesting that only librarians should decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available to kids? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Tell me what you're saying.
Well, first of all, there's this...
Don't give me a speech. Tell me what you're asking me to do.
With all due respect, Senator, the words you spoke are disturbing, especially coming out of your mouth is very disturbing. But I would also tell you that we're not advocating for kids to read porn, to Senator Booker's point.
What are you advocating for?
We are advocating for parents, random parents, not to have the ability, under the guise of keeping kids safe, to try and challenge the world view of every single manner on these issues.
You're getting conceptual again.
I'm not getting conceptual.
Well, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
This is why I like John. He one of my favorites out of all of these senators. He be snapping on these niggas. He be checking these niggas. He don't play no games with these niggas. But no, what the fuck? I'm not understanding. Yeah, he not even making a point where he's going at. But this is the shit that they want to provide the kids with. Reason being is because they want the kids to go against what we think is normal. So instead of being heterosexual, they want you to think that, and they want to program the kids to believe that they're becoming themselves when they think outside of what was normal. So instead of thinking that you having a woman and a man is having a child, you can think more of yourself being as a woman or a man if you're not a woman or a man. But at the end of the day, and I just seen a video earlier where it still got hit like by a dude. At the end of the day, when it come down to it, it's two different lines, two different worlds, and it's two reasons why we can't mix them two worlds together. I know motherfuckers want to sit back and change shit and make shit a certain way, but you gotta provide that to the adults. You can't provide that to the kids. Maybe the teenagers, maybe they going for the kids. That's when I feel like the parents really need to step up. But yeah,
I want to know what you're recommending. It sounds to me like what some of you are saying. The librarians should decide who gets to see that book.
I'm saying when individual parents are allowed to make a decision of where that line is, and To Kill a Mockingbird, which involves a rape scene, should that book be pulled from our libraries? I think it becomes a slippery slope.
I think you ought to think about it a little bit more before you come here.
I've thought about it,
Senator. If you're going to propose something, you ought to be able, in 30 seconds, to be able to explain what you're asking us to do. Ms. Kelly, what do you understand? Well, let me skip you for a second. Mr. Cameron, tell me what you're proposing.
It's pronounced Nix.
Mix? Is that how would you like me to refer to you?
Senator, your definition of sexual is synonymous with LGBTQ identity.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you to tell me you read those two excerpts.
Genderqueer.
Do you think that, are you asking that only librarians and not parents have any say in whether minors can read those books? Is that what you're saying?
Genderqueer has never been in my school library, so it's never been banned.
Well, suppose it was. Should it be up just to the librarian, or should parents have a say?
There should be facilitation of collaboration between students.
Should parents have a say?
Parents should be working with students and educators to be making decisions, because students are.
And who decides ultimately? The librarian, or do you take a vote, or who takes the vote?
Book review committees in the community in my school district.
You want a committee to decide?
There are committees.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you, how do we decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available in the library? What would you, if you were running things, what would you do?
All Boys Aren't Blue, the scene you mentioned, is about sexual abuse.
I know what it's about.
It's not
What
erotic.
would you do in terms of making the books available? Would you say anybody can see them, or they have to be in a special session?
Students who do not read books like All Boys Aren't Blue cannot learn what is appropriate.
I understand that.
They cannot learn.
I understand, but none of you want to answer my question. You come here.
yeah, no, ain't none of these niggas like giving him no real answer on this shit. I just think it's funny because you see the difference in a man, but yo, when that nigga hopped on the screen, bro, it just got real little. But nah, the energy just shrunk. But yeah, regardless of what the scene was about, pretty much I'm gonna say this. Shouldn't nothing that graphic be read or be shown to a child? That's actually weird if he really don't believe that the parents should have a say so in what their kids is getting fed and provided to be taught and read and all that. Another thing I ain't like is the fact that they keep dancing around this nigga questions, and then they keep acting like they doing these kids a favor by doing this. First of all, you kind of confusing the situation because they might not even be thinking about this shit just yet. Second of all, we really shouldn't even be trying to provide kids with sexual visuals at all, whether it's heterosexual or homosexual. I'm gonna say that all together because I already know motherfuckers are gonna jump in the comments talking about, oh, you can't stop this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do. First of all, children should be able to be children. What they should be reading is 1, 2, 3s and ABCs. What they should be reading is how we should get along, not no bullshit about fucking and getting raped and all of this weird shit. I don't even know what this fucking book about. I wouldn't even pick this shit up. I wouldn't read it to my child, and I wouldn't pick it up for a child. I wouldn't leave this shit in no library, for damn sure. Maybe in high school, yeah, I'll give it to some high school kids, but I wouldn't get this shit to no pre-K, no middle school kids. I wouldn't get they wouldn't understand all of that shit for real, unless they going through it personally. Even still, such a book does not help them navigate through such a situation. They need somebody that's going to actually be there, and somebody that's actually going to listen to them and make sure that they okay. And that's what the parents is for. The parents have to start having conversations with their own kids. You have to allow parents to have that space with their own kids. Stop sitting here acting like motherfuckers can't have this conversation with their child. This is the personal situation. Sex, period, is a personal situation with your child, but sexual education is a whole nother conversation, because once you start teaching it to a certain level and degree, taking it too far, and it's like you kind of pushing boundaries where they shouldn't be. Kids should be thinking about Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, whatever they doing right now, Paw Patrol, whatever. Fuck all that. Fuck you talking about. They shouldn't be thinking about no motherfucking homosexuality and no shit like that.
And you say censorship is bad. And of course it's bad. But the obvious response is, okay, you heard the books we're talking about. Okay, we're not talking about Catcher in the Rye. So tell me what you want, who gets to decide. And all I've heard is the...
For people who don't know, To Kill a Mockingbird is about racism. That's one. And another one that he just named is because they just try to throw these in the mix, like Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye is about basically a nigga trying to save some kids from doing some dumb shit. But look, the point of the matter is, if you notice, the homosexual community always try to throw racial shit in there. They always try to put us in the mix. They always try to put all of that. For some reason, they try to integrate that shit because it becomes a thing where whether it's race or whether it's religion, they use those two categories to use themselves as an inclusion. Niggas need to start paying attention to that. I really hate that they take advantage of that. We need to stop the fact they take advantage of us because they taking advantage of the Civil Rights Act due to the fact that we built something off of our backs that we went through. You see what I'm saying? So they're about to take that and use all of this shit to mix all of this shit to push it to the kids because it's like they fighting for their civil right, quote unquote. But it's like, what human rights didn't you have in life? Because you were always granted rights. The thing is, you were shunned. That's all. But nobody said you couldn't be gay or nobody said you couldn't be this and that. But what we are saying is you can't be what you're not born as.
Librarians, and parents have nothing to do with it. And if that's your response, what planet did you just parachute in from?
Parents, Senator.
Or what country, more appropriately? This is not China.
Parents, Senator, for all due respect, parents absolutely have a say. My parents were immigrants, came to this country. We never checked out books without our parents seeing what books we were reading. They encouraged us to read books.
Mr. Secretary, I understand this is good for your politics back home.
It's got nothing to do with my politics. My bill is passed.
My bill is passed. It has everything to do with your politics.
I'm here to...
But you came here with a problem, and I'm trying to understand the solution, and you don't have one.
We solved the solution.
Other than to tell us that we don't agree with you, we'll be on the wrong side of history.
We solved the problem in Illinois. We fixed it because we...
well, there are others you could work on.
Well, that's why
I'm
I'm
out
here
of
to help.
time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
To help other states make these decisions.
See, that's the thing. I don't even think niggas in Illinois realize this shit. It's actually in Chicago where they have books already in the school. I really just do not feel, and I really do feel like parents should stand up about this shit. But I'm gonna speak more on this because I keep saying this. They keep trying to push these kids more into this adult lane and keep trying to treat these kids like they're adults. They keep trying to make it seem like the parents ain't supposed to have a say so on how the child is raised. They're raising the child. They're building the child. You're not making the child. You ain't make the child. The government didn't make the child. You see what I'm saying? So for these people to be trying to push this shit and act like it's supposed to be put in pre-K and all of this shit in these elementary schools and shit to be accessible to these children, and then you never know, especially with kids, you know how sneaky kids are. He talking about some fucking his parents, this, that, and the third knew he was reading. Everybody parents ain't around when they grabbing shit, and everybody parents ain't around all the time. Some people parents work, some people parents have shit to do. We currently in a recession right now, so like niggas need to also realize that part to the story. He's saying a bunch of dumb shit and making a lot of nonsense, trying to sound like it's proper, but it's not. Real shit, these niggas is mentally sick and out of whack. Like, you can't make this shit up. This is what they be on, bro. This is what your tax dollars are going towards. Bullshit like this. For them to fuck your kids' heads up. This is why I keep telling people, pay attention to who you vote for and be paying attention to what the fuck is going on in politics. Stop sitting back acting like politics don't matter. But y'all let me know what the fuck y'all think about this shit, man.
Hey, gotta know your purpose, understand what worth is. These snakes is lurking, observing, trying to close your curtain.